Where do we even begin? Well, let's begin actually where we left off last night. Last night, we were essentially told not to believe our own eyes. Well, since then, guys, the FBI has come out and they have confirmed, thank goodness they confirmed, that yes, Trump survived an assassination attempt. Because in case you missed it, Joe Biden came out, gave us 2 minutes, and he communicated that they weren't sure whether or not it was an assassination attempt. They were waiting for facts. So let's not rush. Let's not rush to any conclusions. And that is the perfect place to start, you guys, because that's where we are at right now in our society. That final instruction, not to believe your own eyes, not to believe your own ears, to wait until the authoritarians come out and tell you what is real. That's actually where we are, specifically in Western society. People go with that. I will guarantee you that a part of the population went to sleep last night and said, we don't know if it's an assassination attempt yet. We should wait to find out. We should wait until our government confirms. We should wait until the FBI, the most corrupt government organization that's plausibly ever existed, lets us know that it was, in fact, a failed assassination attempt. Well, guys, as I said, it has been confirmed. Another far-right conspiracy theory has come true. Wait, we'll get to the headlines. They were making fun of Tucker when he said this. Tucker's pushing this conspiracy theory that Donald Trump may be assassinated. I don't know why he would say such a thing. Well, constant headlines because he's been under attack ever since he's been free. It's almost every day now. They just keep attacking Tucker. They keep attacking me. Keep attacking every person who's coming to you and saying something very evil is going on. People that have the courage to call what we are seeing, right? And I have been saying it. They are going to try to kill Donald Trump. Donald Trump better choose his vice president very carefully, because if they suspect the person he has selected is someone that they can control, someone like a Nikki Haley, there is no reason that they would allow him to live. And some people don't want to deal with that. They don't want to deal with the reality of how evil our institutions are. But guess what? The time for fear is over. You have to face this reality because it's the only way that we're going to be able to move forward. And one of the things that we're going to do here is we're going to name the shooter. I know there's a lot of organizations and companies that say we shouldn't do that because that's what they want. You know, they want to be known. They want their name to be remembered. Let me tell you something. I not only want this person's name when this stuff happens, I want to know everything about that individual. I want to know what they ate for breakfast, because we have to confront evil. I want to know what sports they were involved in. I want to know who their friends were. I want to know the last message they sent. I want to know who their parents are. I want to know what their parents do for a living. And especially want to know whether or not their parents have had anything to do with the United States government. Because that detail is very crucial. I want to know what drugs those individuals are on. That's the one thing they never tell you. Which pharmaceutical drugs are these shooters, all of them in the past, and this current shooter, are they on? Because it tends being that, it seems to be the case, that so many of them are suffering from mental illness and are on drugs, but we're not allowed to have that conversation. Well, today we are going to have that conversation. I'm going to tell you why Big Pharma is always the most important part of the equation. So first, let's recap, guys. Let's get into this. Obviously, everybody by now has seen this footage. We're going to show it to you again just to recap the events quickly here. Last night, while Trump was speaking in Butler, Pennsylvania, shots rang out. I counted about 8 to 10 shots. You guys can count here. We are going to show you again how exactly and when exactly that went down. Take a look.
We see something that said, take a look at what happened.
Now, to be clear, a lot of people have pointed this out. Brandon Tatum, another fellow commentator, pointed out that Trump turning his head may have saved his life, right? Because we know that his ear was clipped. I know there have been conflicting reports. Yesterday, as information was coming out, some people were saying that his ear got clipped by glass from the teleprompter. Trump himself has said that he was shot in the ear. And if we have more up-to-date information or if that transforms, we will let you know. But he turned his head, and gratefully, it looks like only his ear was grazed throughout this incident. And beyond that, in a moment that we will never forget, of course, Trump stopped the Secret Service from sweeping him off stage so that he could stop and signal to the American people, in all of this confusion and all of this craziness, having just survived an assassination attempt. It was his priority to signal to the American people that it was going to be okay. Take a look at Trump. That's just incredible. That will give me chills forever to realize that. I don't think you understand what sort of a strength that takes. I would be so terrified in that moment. I would be sprinting off stage, and he's feeling blood coming down his neck. He's feeling blood. He realizes that he's been shot in the ear, and he goes, wait, wait, wait. Because what's more important is that the American people know that we are going to fight and we're going to win. And unbelievably, he says fight, fight, fight. We're going to show you later. The news agencies, rather than reporting on this in a respectable manner, have said, he shouldn't have said fight, fight, fight. No, he shouldn't have said that. That is the real crime here. Not that he just survived an assassination attempt from another Looney Tune, but that he said fight, 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 because, I don't know, maybe that could have led to another insurrection. Anyways, you guys, I want to show you this close-up of his ear because that has been made available. Do we have that, guys? This is a close-up of Trump's ear. I think that we just showed that again. And more importantly, this was drawn up by the Daily Mail, a map of the stadium. If you are watching this, take a look at this. This is unbelievable. And by unbelievable, I mean you should not believe it. Look at the lower half of the screen here where it says 4, okay? Yes, the shooter's name is Thomas Matthew Crooks. I'm going to tell you all about him momentarily. But it is showing you on this map where he was, okay? Where he was, where the Secret Service sniper was, and where Trump was standing. To be clear, just 150 yards away from the stage. A direct line of eyesight to the Secret Service sniper, okay? Like I said, this is unbelievable. Looking at this map, it is unbelievable because it should not be believed. You should not believe that all of this happened because of a remarkable failure in intelligence. I refuse to believe that. I'm not going to be deluded by anybody's press conference. I'm not going to be deluded by the insistence from all of these media mockingbirds that all of this happened because it was just a remarkable failure in intelligence, is what they always tell us. No, I don't believe that because I know better. I know the kind of evil that we are fighting, and we're going to get to all parts of that. So let's first jump into everything we know about the shooter. The shooter has been identified, again, as an individual named Thomas Matthew Crooks. Last name, I guess, appropriate in this scenario. And of course, the first thing that people are saying is that he looks like a soy boy. And you know what? I'm sort of recognizing this as a theme. Why do all of these shooters look alike? They have the same look in their eye. Do you know what I'm talking about? They all look like the would-be shooter in all of these situations. And I'm talking about in the past, school shooting situations. They all have a certain look. So can we throw up a photo of, here's Thomas Matthew Crooks. Okay, this looks like a school picture of some description. And I swear I've seen this person over and over again in other school shooting scenarios. I'm thinking mainly, by the way, of a Connecticut shooting situation, because that's where I'm from. And they just all have a similar look in their eyes, in my viewpoint. Now, guys, you're not going to believe this. Here's what they're trying to actually sell to us. This is really what they're going with because, of course, they need to fashion this so it doesn't look like leftist violence. They're saying he was a registered Republican. Yeah, people are making jokes. A Republican tried to take down Donald Trump. Now, is that true? Is that true? Was he a registered Republican? Was this a person, a conservative? Well, I'll let you decide after I put together a picture for how he lived the last couple of years of his life. So to be clear, Thomas Matthew Crooks had never voted in a presidential election, had never voted ever in his life because he only just turned 18 2 years ago. So what we do know about him is that just before he turned 18, and this is in 2021 when he was just 17 years old, he decided to, on Biden's inauguration day, to make a donation via Act Blue. You guys know that political action committee that raises money for left-leaning politicians. Yes, he decided to make a donation to Act Blue, just $15. That is a fact, by the way, that has been confirmed by the Federal Election Commission filing. So the donation was earmarked for the Progressive Turnout Project, which was a national group that rallies Democrats to vote, and they were obviously working on getting Joe Biden elected. Okay, so this person, factually speaking, in 2021 was a Biden supporter. Now, strangely, later that in that same year, he decided to register as a Republican upon turning 18. Those facts make sense to you? Do those facts align now that we know that he then decides to try to assassinate President Trump, that he was financially supporting Biden, he was putting together a plan to assassinate President Trump, and they are going to try to convince us that he was a Republican? Nope, that seems too perfect. Now, they have reached out to family members in the Crooks family. He graduated, Thomas Crooks, that is, Thomas Crooks graduated in 2022 from Bethel Park High School. His uncle, Daily Mail was able to get in touch with him, his name is Mark Crooks, has said that he has not seen his nephew or his nephew's parents in years. He describes them as quote unquote, very private. I don't like that. I don't like that a family member, an uncle, would not be in touch with his own brother or his own sister. I'm assuming here, since he has the same last name, but it's his brother, in years. That instead of being in touch with him, he just knows that they're extremely private. Up to what? What is it about this family that we don't know? He said, quote, "I haven't seen that part of my family in years." Again, this is Mark Crooks, the uncle to the shooter, Thomas Matthew Crooks. He continued, "Honestly, it's been so long, I don't think much about them." Okay? He says, "It's a shame. The kid is like a stranger to me. They are private and they don't reach out to anybody anytime. I'm flagging that as immediately odd, extremely odd." Now, during the attack, despite the fact that we know that he not only supported Biden by making a donation of $15 via ActBlue, but also he supported him by trying to take out, via an assassination attempt, Donald J. Trump. It appeared that he was wearing merchandise during the assassination attempt, promoting YouTube's most popular channels that are devoted to firearms, a channel known as Demolition Ranch. That's what NBC News is reporting, that he decided to wear that day a Demolition Ranch, I don't know if it's a t-shirt, I don't know if he was wearing a sweatshirt, but it is one of the most popular channels devoted to firearms. That does not seem almost too perfect? Almost seems like he's just giving them a narrative there of like, oh, people that like firearms are bad and they're crazy and they're backwards. Now, his father, Matthew Crooks, 53 years old, has spoken to CNN, and he said that he was trying to figure out, quote, what the hell is going on? He was going to wait until, quote, I talked to law enforcement before speaking out publicly. Now, what that signals to me immediately is that this family is not Republican, because a Republican family would not answer or give a quotation to CNN. That is a fact. Trump supporters would not, under any search situation, would they accept a phone call from CNN and offer them a quote, least of all saying that I'm going to wait until I talk to law enforcement before speaking, primarily because we have lost a lot of faith in law enforcement. We don't trust the FBI. We don't trust the FBI to tell the truth. So again, I am flagging the family as immediately suspicious. Everything going on here is immediately suspicious. What have we learned since last night? Because a lot of stuff was coming in. We got some stuff wrong. I think we got the majority of the stuff right. But what we did learn, unfortunately, is that a member of the crowd was in fact killed in a deadly shooting, while 2 others were wounded and are in critical condition. Last night we thought it was just 2 people that were shot. It turns out it's a total of 3. One of them is dead, has lost his life. 2 of them are in critical condition and they have been wounded. All 3 of them are males, according to law enforcement officials. I hope that all of you take the time today to pray for all of these families, because while so many of us are obviously very happy that Donald Trump survived this assassination attempt, we should not forget, we should not lose ourselves. We should also recognize that last night there are people that lost their family members, that they are dealing with that reality today, that 3 men went to support Donald Trump, the Republican nominee, and they are now, 2 of them in critical condition, 1 of them is dead. That is absolutely awful. And again, I did give up my prayers today at Mass. We also learned that last night a bomb squad and agents from the Bureau of Alcohol and Tobacco, Firearms, the ATF obviously, were at an address that was registered to the Crooks as the cops stood guard in front of yellow police caution tape. And as an update, everybody was expecting Donald J. Trump to arrive at the UFC fight. He did not. He actually landed back in New York, where he lives, I believe it's Bedford, where he lives. And I'm sure that he is processing a lot of emotions right now. I'm sure maybe in the back of his mind, he never thought that it would get this bad. Maybe he didn't take people literally. Maybe he himself thought it was a conspiracy, the idea that they would shoot him in broad daylight. But maybe he did question whether or not they would ever get that desperate to do what they did to JFK, because our government killed JFK. That's the reality that no one will say to you because nobody has any courage anymore. Everybody lives in fear. Our government murdered a Catholic president, John F. Kennedy. He was shot and killed in broad daylight. Maybe Trump thought, hey, that's the 60s. They could never do something like that today. They could never be so bold as to do something like that today. People got smartphones. People could put together the narrative faster than the mainstream media mockingbirds. And last night, he learned that he was wrong. You know, this is a good time to pause and also to reflect on the fact that Donald Trump, when he got into office, he accessed the JFK files because obviously it's been a mystery for decades. Who shot JFK? Oh no, it's all locked down. Trust the Warren Commission report. And whatever he saw scared him. It scared him. He didn't want to talk about it anymore. He recognized a real danger that actually scared him when he opened those files. He said, when I get in and become president, I'm going to tell you who shot JFK. And then he didn't tell us who shot JFK. Maybe because the implications were too heavy, but the American people already know who shot JFK. Our deep state shot JFK. That is the reality, and there's much more to that reality, by the way. We're going to talk about that later because there's more updates that have come out. Obviously, everybody is going, what the heck is going on with this Secret Service? Okay? You're supposed to tell me that this is supposed to be the most intelligent, the most prepared security apparatus in the world, right? And they failed. They failed to secure the premises. They failed to even secure 150 yards away from where Donald J. Trump was speaking. Do we believe that? Are we supposed to believe that? Well, don't be a conspiracy theorist, guys. No, actually, be a conspiracy theorist, because the conspiracy theorists are telling you the truth. What they are trying to tell you is that common sense is a conspiracy now. Common sense is not a conspiracy. Common sense tells you that something else went on here, that this was coordinated, that people knew what was going to happen, and that common sense, if you were already sensing that that could be a reality, it was all but confirmed. All but confirmed when a bystander, who I'm going to show you right now, basically said, I was flagging my hands, I was just shaking my hands in the air saying, hey, this guy's got a gun, this guy's got a gun, this guy's got a gun, and essentially being ignored by both the police and the Secret Service. I want you guys to take a listen to what this bystander had to say.
Someone who was here, you weren't inside the event, nope, but you were just outside. Tell us what you saw.
So we had a party here all day. You can see behind us at the Brinkles Farm and Greenhouse here. We had a party, and we all decided, hey, you know, when we hear Trump up there, we're going to walk up through the field, stand by the trees up there under the shade, and watch and listen to the rally. Right? We couldn't see him, but we could hear him. So we walked up, and probably 5 to 7 minutes of Trump speaking. I'm estimating here. I have no idea, you know. But we noticed a guy crawling, bear crawling up the roof of the building beside us, 50 feet away from us. So we're standing there, and, you know, we're pointing at the guy crawling up the roof.
And he had a gun, right?
He had a rifle. We could clearly see him with a rifle, absolutely. We're pointing at him. The police are down there running around on the ground. We're like, hey, man, there's a guy on the roof with a rifle. And the police were like, huh, what? You know, like they didn't know what was going on. You know, we're like, hey, right here on the roof. We can see him from right here. We see him. You know, he's crawling. And next thing you know, I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, why is Trump still speaking? Why have they not pulled him off the stage? I'm standing there pointing at him for, 2 or 3 minutes. Secret Service is looking at us from the top of the barn. I'm pointing at that roof, just standing there like this. And next thing you know, 5 shots ring out.
So you're certain But the shots came from that guy on the roof.
100%. 100%.
And he was up there for a couple of minutes.
He was up there.
You saw him up there for a couple of minutes.
Absolutely. At least 3 to 4 minutes.
And you were telling the police and the Secret Service.
We were telling the police, we were pointing at them for the Secret Service, who were looking at us from the top of the barn. They were looking at us the whole time when we were standing by that tree.
Could they see
binoculars?
Could they see him?
Probably not, because the roof, the way the slope went, he was behind where they could see. But why is there not Secret Service on all of these roofs here? I mean, this is not a big place.
Did you see, I mean, obviously everyone, when the shooting started, everyone was very panicked. Did you see what happened to him at all?
Oh yeah, they blew his head off.
Okay, sorry.
Secret Service blew his head off.
Okay, just be careful because we don't quite know who's watching, but you're pretty sure they shot the guy?
Absolutely, 100%.
Okay.
Yep.
You saw that happen?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And did you see them go up to him afterwards, or?
They crawled up on the roof. They had their guns pointed at him, make sure he was dead. He was dead, and that was it. It was over.
That's incredibly shocking.
The guy was on the roof right there. You can see the white roof right there.
Did you get a look at him? Could you?
No, other than he was in muted colors, tan type clothing. We saw the rifle flinging around as he was trying to crawl. I mean, we saw the rifle, 100%.
Do you know about guns? Do you know what kind of weapon it was?
Oh, I absolutely know about guns, for sure. No, I mean, it was a rifle of some sort. I wouldn't know, I wasn't close enough to read the label on it, but,
sure. But
it was a rifle of some sort. Yeah, absolutely.
So, how do you process what you've just seen?
I don't know what to say, man. All I'll tell you is, if I walked up close to there with anything that Secret Service considered a problem, I wouldn't be standing here talking to you right now. But I don't know why a guy who we're standing there pointing out to police and Secret Service is crawling up the roof. Yes, right there by that tree. We were outside the security perimeter. But my question is, there's only a few buildings around here. Why is Secret Service not at every building here?
Well, there's a whole bunch of questions, I think, that are going to come.
There's a whole bunch of questions.
Yeah.
He is all of us. He didn't want to say it, but he did say it. This is fishy, okay? This is not an accident. This isn't an intelligence failure, okay? This was allowed to take place because they have wanted Trump out by any means necessary. And these are one of the means now, okay? And I don't believe, by the way, that this is going to be the last assassination attempt on Donald Trump. I don't believe that whatsoever, because I've been feeling it. I've had a feeling that things are growing more sinister because they're losing control. More people are starting to wake up. More people are starting to realize that all the things that they believed to be conspiracy theories in the past are in fact true. We are fighting real evil in this country. We're fighting real evil all over the world. And so the media is doing everything desperate to maintain control and to maintain order. And in their desperation, they are growing increasingly more violent, increasingly more sinister, increasingly more psychopathic. You guys, in 5 minutes, by the way, Joe Biden is going to join for some remarks, and we're going to cut to it so that we can watch that live. I first want to say the director of Secret Service is a woman named Kim Cheadle. Okay, and you already know what I'm going to say. Oh, there's going to be the headlines. Candace says that women shouldn't be pilots and women shouldn't be running a security apparatus. Let me show you this clip, by the way, of one of the way too many Secret Service female agents trying to holster her gun. Okay, this is from last night. This is actually a real footage from last night after the President of the United States, former President of the United States, Donald J. Trump, was almost assassinated. Take a look at this video. We can get out of this. No disrespect to the many women who are willing to lay down their lives, right? I have no disrespect. There are tons of women who can shoot guns, right? And shoot them very well. But when it comes to the responsibility of guarding the former President of the United States, we need men. Can we acknowledge reality? Are we allowed to acknowledge gender and sex and the natural biological proclivities of men versus women. Are we allowed to do that? Because guess what? I don't care whether we're allowed to do it. I've been doing it the entire time. I want male pilots. I want male security guards. I want men back, okay? Men back doing male tasks that they are naturally inclined to do because of their body composition, because of the testosterone that is coursing through their veins. It impacts women differently than it impacts men. That adrenaline rush that we get, something happens to a kid, I very much want there to be women there. When we are talking about guarding the life of President Donald J. Trump, the fact that there were so many women there is just unbelievable. And I'm going to show you, by the way, the director of Secret Service, Kim Cheadle, where her priorities were. You're not going to believe this, you guys. DEI, yeah, she wanted to make sure, as the new director of Secret Service, that we were being diverse, equitable, and inclusive enough going forward. I'm going to show you this clip, and then we're going to probably have to cut to Joe Biden's remarks. Take a look at this.
To expand hiring, they're aiming to have 30% women recruits by 2030, and
She's
even
gotta be
allow
kidding me.
YouTube influencer Michelle Khare to train with agents.
But I'm
We're
very
a
conscious,
joke!
as I sit in this chair now, of making sure that we need to attract diverse candidates and ensure that we are developing and giving opportunities to everybody in our workforce, and particularly women.
That workforce
Just
will be pivotal for the 2024 campaign season, which for the first time includes a former president who already has lifetime protection. Agents were there when Donald Trump was arraigned in New York.
We were able to work out the details ahead of time of how that particular day was going to go, but we will always ensure the safety of all of our protectees that we have.
The service has a zero-fail mission, a mission officers are training to uphold, pretending this field is the most famous address in America.
Okay, we can get out of this. We can get out of this, guys. I mean, I'm just like, ooh. When I say ooh, guess what? That punch would hurt less than if a man had done it. You want to know why? Because I'm a woman. I don't mind these women in roles if they're organizing the security apparatus. I think women are very good at organizing. We are naturally more organized, okay? I think that women do better when it comes to multitasking, as just one example. That's why there's the expression, if you want to get something done, hand it to a busy mom. Do you know what we're not good at? Being under pressure in situations that are life or death. Okay? That is not our natural proclivity. Now, if a kid's there, I've seen some incredible things. But when it comes to this sort of an operation, you're trying to strive to have majority women? Who do you think could win in a fight? Her or Trump? That's a problem, okay? We need strong men. We need strong men that are laser focused. The kind of men that run into buildings when Audrey Hale, who was the trans Tennessee shooter, storm into the building without second thought, put their lives on the line, and take her down in moments. While the women instinct, who do I protect? Okay, I've got to protect the kids. Men, I have to go out and fight the war, okay? It doesn't matter how much ideology, guys, is being forced down in the school system. The reality is that we have biological proclivities. Are there exceptions? Sure. We should not be dictating our society according to exceptions. We need to be dictating society according to the rules. And the rules are men are strong. Let men protect men. It is a joke to have women protecting men. That is a joke. Physically protecting men, that is a joke. Are we bringing in Biden? Is he preparing?
Still waiting.
We're still waiting for Biden. I'm sure he's napping. Now, what we can do is show you what Biden did last night, because this is really unbelievable. So the president of the United States, gaslighting the public, we don't know if it's an assassination attempt, he decided to speak for a total of 2 minutes and 20 seconds. And he gave us nothing last night. And I said, while we were live, I said, he's not coming back. He said, maybe I'll come back. No, you're not. No, you're not. You're not coming back tonight. You're not staying awake. You're going to bed. Because that is what is required of you, because obviously you don't have your senses about you. There's a lot of evidence that you are suffering from a degenerative Parkinson's disease. It's very obvious that you are suffering from dementia. We can tell by your gait that everybody's just lying to us, because this is the Truman Show, right? Everyone's just playing a part, pretending that Biden is not ill. So let's just cut to the clip of Biden last night, all that we got from him before we jump into his live remarks today. Take a look at this.
Thanks for coming, folks. I've been thoroughly briefed by all the agencies in the federal government as to the situation, based on what we know now. I have tried to get a hold of Donald. He's with his doctors. Apparently he's doing well. I plan on talking to them shortly, I hope, when I get back to the telephone. Look, there's no place in America for this kind of violence. It's sick. It's sick. It's one of the reasons why we have to unite this country. We cannot allow for this to be happening. We cannot be like this. We cannot condone this. And I want to thank the Secret Service and all the agencies, including the state agencies, that have engaged in making sure that people and we have more detail to come relative to other people maybe injured in the audience. I don't have all that detail. We'll make that available to you. I may be able to come back a little later tonight, but we'll put out a statement if I'm not able to if it's not convenient for you all. But the bottom line is that the Trump rally was a rally that he should have been able to be conducted peacefully without any problem. But the idea that there's political violence or violence in America like this is just unheard of. It's just not appropriate. And everybody must condemn it. Everybody. I'll keep you informed, and if I am able to speak to Donald, I'll let you know that as well. But so far, it appears he's doing well, number one. Number two, that they're thoroughly investigating what happened to anyone else in the audience. We have some reports, but not final reports. And every agency in the federal government, I'm going back to my phone to speak with the federal agencies that are being put together again to give me an updated briefing. Has anything happened? They learned any more in the last couple hours. So thank you very much, and I hope I get to speak to them tonight, and I'll get back to you if I do. Okay?
Mr. President, do you think this was an assassination attempt?
I don't know enough to. I have an opinion, but I don't have any facts. So I want to make sure we have all the facts before I make any more comments. Thank you.
Are you worried for his own safety? Was the security failing, Mr. President?
Let's play a game. If it wasn't an assassination attempt, what was it? It's just somebody target practice, didn't realize that it was a former sitting president that they were practicing as a target? Okay, what was it? 4th of July fireworks gone awry? Taken off the ear? What was it? Seriously, when they say this stuff and they think we are this stupid, I am just wondering who at home is going, yeah, no, it could be something else going on here. All the shots running out. They knew by that time, by the way, as we did, because we were covering this live, that somebody had died. They knew that there was people on the ground already giving their testimony about how they ran to the side. Remember, we had that position. I'm going to show you him in a bit because I don't know how much time that we have until Biden's going to give his secondary remarks. But they knew that. They knew absolutely that this was a shooting. And of course, like I say, they are the real conspiracy theorists. Of course, it could not have been anything other than an assassination attempt. And yet he didn't give that. Instead, what did Biden say? I may be back later. No, you're not. Go to bed like you do the majority of the time. You are sleeping the majority of the time. The American people and the entire world are being played, okay? As I said, this is just a performance. All of this is performative. Biden is not in control. We know he's not in control. His cabinet is in control. The CIA is in control. Everything else, he is there as a puppet to make people believe in the illusion of democracy. And if you are still buying into the illusion of democracy, you need to wake up. So what do we have? Well, they say that today, Biden has since been in the Situation Room with the FBI Director Wray. Oh, that warms my heart. We really trust the FBI here. Not. Also the DHS Secretary Mayorkas. It's just a who's who of who we don't trust. The Secret Service Director Cheadle. Oh, I'm glad she's in there. I hope she's doing a good job of making there's enough the female voices. I hope she's checking in on the equity and the inclusion of the Situation Room. Are there enough black people? Are there enough women? Do we have somebody who's handicapped? I just want to make sure everybody's included. That's what she's doing. That's what Kim Cheadle is doing there. Total waste of space. And then we have the National Security Advisor, Sullivan. All of these people who have lied routinely to the American people over the last 4 years are all now collaborating in a room together. Probably a doctor there as well, giving Joe Biden a shot, some sort of an injection in his butt to keep him awake. That's what we have going on right now. And as we wait for that injection to kick in so we can go live to see what his follow-up remarks are, see if he can, just read the teleprompter without saying end quote. Yeah, that's what's going on right now. We are waiting for Joe Biden's drugs to kick in. Guys, I want to take a break really quickly because I do want to thank sponsors of this show. One of them you guys are already aware of. Well, first of all, I just want to thank you guys because last night we obviously went live. This was the first time that we did this. We were independent. I mean, my team ran in here last night. One of them was still soaking wet, having ran out of the shower. Another of them should have been arrested for how many red lights Mark here ran to get here. But we definitively got so much support on Locals, people that went over to locals.com and actually supported the independence of the show. I want to thank you. I also want to thank Preborn. Obviously, they have stayed with me. And let me tell you guys, last year I said to my husband, I only want to work with sponsors of this show that we know are being moved like we are being moved, that we recognize this is evil, that are going to withstand cancel culture. They're trying to cancel me. They're trying to cancel Tucker Carlson. They know the people that are speaking to the American people freely. Okay, because we know the conspiracies are real. We know the threat that surrounds us is the government. And Preborn, they stuck with me. We know what they are doing. They're saving lives. They are saving the lives of the infants, the most vulnerable people in this country. And they operate on a very slim budget. They rescue over 200 babies' lives every day. They're up against Planned Parenthood. They have no government funding. Their network of clinics are situated in the darkest corners of the nation. They compete head-to-head with all of the abortion giants, and they need our help now more than ever. So if you are thinking about who to donate to, when you donate just $28 to Preborn, they offer a free ultrasound to an expectant mother that's caught in a crisis because they know that once that mother hears the heartbeat of her baby, that precious life has a chance at life. It doubles. That baby's chance at life literally doubles. So please sponsor a precious baby's life. Your tax-deductible gift will go directly toward saving babies' lives. You just dial pound 250 and say the keyword baby. Again, that's pound 250. Or you can go to preborn.com/Candace. That's preborn.com/Candace. Okay, guys, now, as Biden, I guess we're still waiting on him. We're still waiting on Joe Biden, guys. So in the meantime, I'd like to get to some of the reactions, the most horrific reactions ever, because while everyone was going, this is a time for unity, I was going, spare me last night. Spare me. We know what they're thinking. We know the left is celebrating. We know that the tweets they were sending in the instant were obligatory to say, this is a terrible thing that happened. And in reality, I said, and I hate to be a cynic, that some of them were thinking, man, it's unfortunate that shooter missed. That's the reality. I said, they are thinking in their heads that it is unfortunate that Trump survived. Well, guess what? Some of them just went ahead and said that out loud. Are you guys familiar with this streamer Destiny at all? Destiny. I had a debate with him because all of a sudden it felt like everyone was doing the rounds on Destiny's show. I'd never heard of him. He's some game streamer. I don't know. And I actually went onto his stream service, whatever his stream show is. And the first thing I said to my husband was, there's a darkness in this person. I'm a gut player. I said, this is what it feels like to me, like he's got some very bizarre, and again, this was me, an opinion, weird sexual interest, and that he's being blackmailed. I said this to my husband. I did. Now, I want to be clear, that's my opinion. That is not a fact. But I'm going to show you what Destiny, who I believe to be a pervert, for some reason, and I'm a gut player, I felt that he was a pervert, and I wanted nothing to do with him. Here's what he tweeted last night. I'm going to show you just that one on the right there. If we learned anything today, I hope it's realizing the importance of principles I've stressed many times on stream before. Having a firearm means absolutely nothing if you don't spend time at the range practicing with it. He actually, this is a person who's had tons of huge commentators on his show, okay? He is just disgusting. Disgusting. He said, oh, I'm sorry. He didn't feel bad about it. People were calling him out on how despicable it was to endorse the violence, to be wishing that the person had better aim. He said, oh, I'm sorry. What happened to 1776? Was that a peaceful protest? He's essentially saying, no, we should be trying to kill people. Okay? There's nothing wrong with the fact, he is saying, how disturbing is this? There's nothing wrong with the fact that this shooter tried to kill Trump. The only problem here is that he missed. That's what Destiny is saying. And he does not care. He said this proudly. He is calling for this openly on X. And his excuse for it, as he says in the bottom corner there, is maybe it's a result of him repeatedly acting like a dictator instead. I will say I was worried for a minute about what would happen to Biden if he ordered this, but then I remembered, thank God conservatives all agree the president has absolute criminal immunity when acting as his role as commander-in-chief. So what he is saying is, even if this order came from Biden himself, it doesn't matter because he's acting in the role of commander-in-chief. So if he commands his troops to kill the Republican nominee, Destiny is saying, I don't have a problem with that. Absolutely sickening. And like I said, some of these people, I thought they would just think it, but they just went ahead and wrote this publicly. This person, Jacqueline Marsaw, wrote, I don't condone violence, but please get you some shooting lessons so you don't miss next time. Oops, that wasn't me talking. Now, who is Jacqueline Marsaw? Jacqueline Marsaw is the staffer for Democrat Congressman Benny Thomas. So yes, this is a person that is getting paid with your tax dollars. This is your government, right? Full mask slip moment. Oops, I just wish that the person hadn't missed. Then we have Eric Swalwell, who is known for being nothing but particularly disgusting. All of these people are filth, just absolute filth. And he came in and just said, let's try to pretend that this guy is on the right, that he's a conservative. He wrote, I don't know why a Republican would try and kill his party's own nominee with an assault rifle, but it's wrong. Violence has never been the answer. Violence is not the answer. Violence will never be the answer. Forget the second part, because the first part is what he led with for a reason, because he's already trying to set the tone. This is Republican on Republican violence. And of course, no, it was not. This person was very clearly a leftist. It's very obvious to me that his parents are on the left. And what we are seeing here is them trying to pretend that they should have no accountability for one of their own, a person who donated, again, to Joe Biden on Inauguration Day via Act Blue, gave $15, and who has just tried to give the biggest plausible donation to Joe Biden that he could in the form of taking out his contender, Donald J. Trump. I mean, you can only imagine what Trump was going through last night. I really just think about that, what Trump must have been thinking last night, recognizing that all of the worst suspicions that people have been putting out there have been confirmed. And again, I want to shout out Alex Jones, who has been calling this out for a while. I want to shout out Vivek Ramaswamy, who has been calling this out for a while, Tucker Carlson, who has been calling this out for a while. And these individuals, by the way, myself included, who have had to take all of the figurative bullets from the mainstream media, an obsession with taking us out, making sure that our voices are being silenced, making sure that the audience won't listen to us anymore. What is the most egregious thing they can sell to you about Tucker Carlson? They are selling that to you. If you are watching the mainstream media, what is the most egregious things that you can believe about Candace Owens? They are selling you that if you are still a fool and watching the mainstream media. And I was wondering why, man. I have been in prayer going, I have never seen attacks against me. And I've had a long career, or was considered a long career in politics, and they have leveled up. They have leveled up in terms of trying to take clips out of context, make people believe that I'm an awful individual. And what is it that I am saying that has led to these attacks? They want people to turn away from me. Don't listen to Candace Owens. She's a conspiracy theorist. She's dumb. She believes in flat earth. They're calling me stupid all the time. She's a Holocaust denier. What is it that I'm actually doing? I'm reporting on real history outside of a textbook. I'm talking about 9/11 and telling you our government lied to us. People were informed of what was going to happen on that day. I am showing those old clips. People who were young like me in school and believing everything because we had no independent media. We believed everything that came through on those giant big screen TVs. We're all huddled up around them, believing that journalists had a commitment to tell us the truth, believing that they were, in fact, protectors of the people, when now we realize they are protectors of the state. Yeah, I'm speaking about real history, and I'm showing people the links. I'm going, you need to unlearn everything you have learned about JFK's assassination. You need to unlearn everything that you have learned about MLK's assassination. You need to unlearn everything that you were taught about 9/11, everything that you think you know about the Vietnam War, World War II. And we're getting hit. We're getting hit. We know we are on borrowed time when you start digging in and showing people what they need to know. That is why they are after us, because we have the willingness to tell you all the truth. And the truth is that the government is evil, and that the government is worse than evil. I want to be clear. The government is satanic. And I want you to feel that, because I know that there are so many people who believe that they are atheists. There's no such thing as an atheist. You just are not aware of what it is that you are worshiping. Okay? An atheist is a person that is asleep and doesn't realize that they have replaced God in their lives with something else, and usually that something else is government. That these Satanists conspired to remove God out of your lives. You believe you're an atheist. This would have been unimaginable 50 years ago, right? Think about your grandparents. Everybody had faith, and then suddenly it changed. You know what, Chris? Can you pull that clip that I absolutely love of Tucker Carlson speaking to Joe Rogan, the one that I'm constantly running while we have people's attention, that I say is potentially the most significant clip, the most significant conversation, or I guess the most significant points that have been delivered from Tucker Carlson to Joe Rogan. Remember, the media had a mass freak out. The establishment had a mass freak out after this conversation, because he's inching ever closer to what the real issue is with the West, that we are fighting a spiritual battle. And most people are fighting this unarmed because they don't realize it's a spiritual battle, right? They're like, no, I don't believe in God. Well, do you believe in the devil? Are you looking around and realizing that actual people who worshiped Satan, as I showed in my NASA Origins episode, okay? Jack Parsons was an individual who believed in the devil, said he came up to him face to face. Okay, he was considered the Aleister Crowley. He was very close to Aleister Crowley. Okay, the religion was Thelema. They worshipped the devil. They believed that they were the beasts in Revelation, in the Bible, the whore of Babylon. They sought to establish that, to establish America as the whore of Babylon. What did they establish? They said NASA, the Apollo program. If this all sounds like new information to you, you need to go back on this channel and watch all of these episodes that we have been releasing. The reason that we are just being assaulted every single day by the mainstream media is because we are going back and learning this stuff, and our jaws are on the floor. I'm learning with you guys. We couldn't believe it. I mean, we sat here in this control room. We were going, this can't be real. What do you mean this is the origins of NASA? It's on Wikipedia, by the way. I'm not on some Reddit feed. They tell you on Wikipedia openly, these people worship Satan. So if you don't believe in God, let me tell you guys something. The people you're fighting sure do. They sure do. And they've picked their side. They are fully committed Satanists that we are fighting. This is not hyperbole. You just have to have the courage to look into real history. Do you have that clip? Okay, you're working on it. Just signal to me whenever you have it. An important conversation is why you are seeing so many people, I believe, that are just kind of suddenly recognizing and maybe feeling as I was feeling at the middle of last year, where I something just came online, and that something must have been the Holy Spirit. And I just said, we got to get out there and we have to tell the truth, and we have to pray every day for our safety. So for those of you who have been worried, and those of you who watch this show every day, and you know that we've been inching closer, and you've been saying, Candace, I'm so worried for your safety. Well, if it's any consolation, just be clear that if they're going to kill me, there's nothing I can do about it. Okay, and I'm saying this half joking, but the reality is you just watched Donald J. Trump get shot at last night, and he is only alive because by the grace of God, people have been praying for him all around the country. He turned his head. That's the reality. Okay, the reality is they shot a president in broad daylight. The reality is it doesn't matter how much you beef up security, they have committed the murder, the assassination of figures that have grown too powerful and who were telling too much truth many times over in the past. This is the America that you live in, okay? The reality is that the entire ecosystem of the mainstream media supports them and their lies, and they do this via mechanisms of psychology. That is what we have been covering on this new show repeatedly. You must understand the origins and the history of psychology. It begins with Sigmund Freud. The reality is that Sigmund Freud created modern psychology as a means to convince people that what they had experienced wasn't so. He was protecting actual pedophiles, real pedophiles. That's the reality. That's the truth. I can point you to books. We do that on the show where you can learn this. You can learn that actually what happened was Sigmund Freud, okay? Sigmund Freud, the psychologist that you're learning about in school, which makes you go, why am I learning about this guy's a hero? The reality is that he began trying to delude a bunch of women who were coming in and saying that they were molested by their fathers when they were children. He tried to convince them that, no. Actually, you're sexually attracted to your father. And this information only came out because one of the people that was heading up his archives decided to learn German and to read Sigmund Freud's notes. And he realized, he said, whoa, and this was a Harvard grad, by the way, he realized Sigmund Freud was protecting pedophiles. And he thought when he exposed this information that the Archive Center was going to go, oh my gosh, now that we know this, we should tell the world. Instead, they colluded to kick him out. And so he wrote a book about it. He wrote a book about this. This is the father of modern psychology. And thereafter, his nephew, who you need to learn about, Edward Bernays, he became the father of propaganda in America, deluding Americans. He considered, I even made Americans eat breakfast. He did that. It wasn't a thing. People weren't eating eggs and bacon for breakfast. He did that. And they were constantly trying out these psychological experiments to see how people would react. He was in charge of World War II propaganda. How are we going to get Christians in the West on board with killing Christians in the East? And they did it. They accomplished it. We have the clip. Nazi propaganda. These people are demonic. We have this clip again, guys. For those of you guys that are new to this channel, please hit the subscribe button. I'm going to show you this conversation that I say is so crucial and why I believe the media freaked out about Tucker Carlson's interview with Joe Rogan, because he's talking about something that should plant a seed in your mind. Take a listen.
There is a whole world that we can't see that acts on people, a supernatural world that's acting on us all the time for good and bad. Every society has thought this before ours. In fact, every society in all recorded history has thought that until, I'll be specific, August 1945, when we dropped the atom bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. And all of a sudden, the West is just officially secular. We're God. There is no God but us. And that's the world that we have grown up in. But that's an anomaly. Like, no one else has ever thought that. There's never been a society that thought that. Every other society has assumed, and they've had all kinds of different explanations, and the details differ. But the core idea does not differ, and never has differed from caves until now, that we're being acted on by spiritual forces at all times.
You are being acted on by spiritual forces at all times. I'm going to say it again. You are being acted on by spiritual forces at all times. Okay? That is a reality. The people who understood this all the way leading up to World War II, since the dawn of humanity, they understood this. They knew God was real. They knew the devil was real. And then something happened after World War II. Yeah, I'll tell you what happened. Psychological tactics happened. Psychology happened. They began experimenting. They opened entire institutes and experimented on people. They experimented on troops. They began investing in understanding that they could create mass psychoses. They could quite literally lead people not to believe their own eyes. You just saw this. This is not a conspiracy, you guys. You just saw this with COVID, okay? Wake up. Wake up. If you are still asleep at the wheel and you're trying to hold on to some semblance, because it is hard. I get it. I had to go through it. I get it. When you realize that everything you were told was a lie, when you realize that you were just a severely propagandized individual from the moment that you stepped into the public school system, it is a hard reckoning to go through. You suffer through periods of cognitive dissonance. Use a psychological term. You start to wonder if you're going crazy. You're not crazy. This is the reality. We are fighting real evil, okay? Sigmund Freud believed in Satanism. That is a fact, okay? He worshipped the Kabbalah. That is a fact. Again, I can point you to these books. And now we have his nephew. We can draw a direct line from this despicable, filthy human being to American psychology today. Students are learning that he was a good guy. There's a cover-up about the fact that he was protecting pedophiles. Do you guys understand what's going on right now? Do you understand what is happening in this country? Spiritual forces, as in when you are listening to music, they understand it is impacting your soul. So if you don't believe you have a soul, it's problematic. Your eyes and your ears are the windows to your soul. They understand that. They don't want you going to church because they have you attending their church every day in the form of public education. Why do you think it is that people genuinely perceive that Donald Trump is a threat? They were believing the rhetoric. Why do you think Operation Mockingbird, real CIA declassified operation, okay, the CIA paid journalists in that program, there's not a single shred of evidence that it ever stopped. Following the assassination of JFK, the CIA said, okay, we need to start paying journalists to repeat our talking points. Now, why would they do that if they didn't kill JFK? Why would they be employing journalists? Why would our deep state begin employing journalists to repeat talking points? Why would they suddenly enter the term conspiracy theory into the lexicon? It never existed prior. Never called people conspiracy theorists before the 60s. Suddenly they were The media was saying it every single day. If you don't believe what we're selling you, you're a conspiracy theorist. They also understand that if you keep repeating something, it eventually becomes true to people. 6 feet social distancing. Why do you think they're all saying the same stuff? Wear masks, save lives. Donald Trump is a danger. Donald Trump is a danger. Donald Trump is a danger. They understand that that works, that people can be psychologically conditioned to believe anything if you just say it enough times. So yes, these coordinated nonstop attacks against Donald Trump from the moment that he came down the escalator, real, okay? That was a plan. They understood what they were doing. They were trying to enter in our psyche, and people believed it. Are they believing it less now? Yes, of course, because they had Donald Trump for 4 years. But prior to, in 2016, people were deluded. People ended their friendships. They had friends for years, decades. If you're supporting Trump, I can no longer be your friend because you're a racist. What do you mean, homie? I'm black, you're white, we've been friends for 20 years, I'm clearly not racist. They don't believe their own eyes and their own experiences. That is the power of psychology. That people were ending friendships. They were ending familial relationships. You had brothers and sisters not talking, not speaking, because CNN kept telling them that Donald Trump was Hitler. He's literally Hitler. And why do they always use Hitler? Again, my recent episode that they're freaking out about, go back, watch it. Watch the episodes because they're important, you guys. They're very important for you to understand what and who we are fighting. They use that because even that has become a trigger. Years of your lives, they thought about this. They have they want you to think that Adolf Hitler is the most evil man that has ever existed. In reality, that is just not true, no matter what metric you look at. I spoke to you on the show about the many genocides that have taken place that you don't even know about. People were shocked to learn about the genocide against the German-speaking civilians immediately following the war. People don't even know about the Bolsheviks. They don't know what the Bolsheviks did to Christians. We don't learn any of this, but it is a program. For years, you learn and you are traumatized about Adolf Hitler in school, in public school, and there's a reason for that because now it's become an adult trigger. All they have to do is call any person Hitler. All they have to do is say, this person is using Hitler's rhetoric, and people instantly attack. They instantly attack because it is a psychological trigger. And people did this in 2016. They believed that every person who was supporting Trump was a monster. They believed that about every single person who donned a MAGA hat, that they were literally Hitler. Your mockingbirds in the mainstream media on the day that Donald Trump won in 2016. Remember that? The tears, this is it, the country is over. What does this mean? Acting as though suddenly he was going to put into place concentration camps, as though we had legitimately witnessed Adolf Hitler on the rise. That was all intentional. They have been slow walking you into that emotional response for a very long time. And what is the reality? Who are the individuals who are supporting Donald J. Trump? What does that average American look like? In the same way that we were propagandized during World War II to believe that German-speaking civilians deserve to die, to believe that Catholics in Nagasaki deserve to have a bomb dropped on them while they were praying, to believe that on Ash Wednesday, Christians deserve to be incinerated in Dresden. Do you understand what psychological means were taken? Well, those exact same psychological means are happening right now. But now it's Americans against Americans. It's not Americans against the Nazis. It's not Americans against German civilians. It's Americans against Americans. They are creating that rift here, right? They're making people believe that they have to fight patriots. And what is the reality of the individuals that support Donald Trump? These are hardworking people, many of who have and would lay down their lives. You know, the families of people whose sons and daughters have lost their lives fighting for this country. And I want to show you this clip, by the way, of a man who was interviewed after, and who knows if that is that individual actually lived or if this is the individual who died after the assassination attempt last night. But look at this. I want you guys to see this interview that this physician gave, soaked in blood after having given it his all to rescue someone's life who was shot in the head. Take a listen.
That's exactly where I heard him come from.
What did you see, sir?
I heard the shots. I thought it was firecrackers to begin with. Somebody over there was screaming, he's been shot, he's been shot. So I made my way over. I said, I'm an emergency department physician. Let me help you. The guy had spun around, was jammed between the benches. He had a headshot here. There was lots of blood, and he had brain matter there.
Oh,
and
no.
so I got him. There's a helicopter coming in to get him. I got people there really helpful. I got him up on a bench.
Shot that you saw?
Then I did CPR, did chest compressions as well as I breathed for him.
One person.
I was the only one that did it.
We need to evacuate everybody.
Look at that man. Listen to that man. That is the face of the average American that is voting for Donald Trump. And yet we have half of this nation that have been psychologically abused into believing that he's a Nazi. That's just your regular old Nazi, right? Again, going back to that childhood trigger when you even hear the term Nazi, when you even hear the name Adolf Hitler, so that you know that you instantly should fight it without even thinking. That's what they are trying to do. They have brought that psychological process back forward, and this time they are trying to divide Americans, hardworking Americans. You guys, I do want to also give up to another one of my sponsors. Speaking of hardworking Americans, Tax Network USA. Obviously, we know that as the state increases, one of the things that they've done is they just went ahead and decided that they needed a larger collection process. The collection tactics of the IRS has been expanded. Well, if you are one of the many Americans that are dealing with tax issues and you want to go to a company that reflects your beliefs, please call Tax Network USA. They can help you. They are the nation's premier tax relief firm with a history of negotiating over $1 billion in tax relief for clients. They offer a range of services, which include penalty forgiveness, hardship programs, where you might not have to repay anything until your tax debt expires. And they even offer in-compromise solutions for lump sum settlements, whether you owe $10,000 or $10 million. Their team of experts is prepared to assist you if you are behind on taxes due to missing personal or business records. They can also, Tax Network USA can guide you through the process of catching up. We know that tax season is over, which means that collection season has begun. So please, if you are struggling, contact Tax Network USA for personalized support with your tax issues, because handling IRS matters without professional help is extremely risky. You can protect your financial security by seeking guidance from Tax Network USA. Their experts will provide strategic advice on reducing or eliminating your tax debt. If you want to schedule a complimentary consultation, you guys, call 1-800-245-6000, or you can visit tnusa.com/Candace. Do not let our IRS's aggressive tactics control your life. Empower yourself with Tax Network USA support by taking charge of your financial future. Again, you can visit tnusa.com/Candace. I'm just so grateful to all of the sponsors that have stuck with the show, and grateful to all of you who have stuck with the show. I would not be here. I mean that. They have tried to cancel me so hard. I would not be able to do this if it were not for all of the independent people that have donated and supported the show. You guys who are watching, who are subscribing, sharing these clips, it means the absolute world to me, truly. All right, we got a couple of live updates that are coming in again before we cut to the president, who is now running just a casual 34 minutes late, guys. 34 minutes? Okay, cool. Joe Biden, due to give remarks, they said. Due to give remarks at 1:30 p.m. Eastern after having met in the Situation Room. Just again, stop pretending. Can we just stop pretending? I am so sick of all of the pretending. But a couple of more updates that we have going on. The former FBI assistant director, was talking about the security breakdown. It seems to me that that's going to be the sell to the public, that this was just a remarkable failure in security. Just like JFK, guys, that was just a failure in security that day when JFK got shot. And then all of the other details that are removed from the public memory, either because you weren't alive during it or because you were propagandized in school to believe that this was an accidental assassination. They're doing that right now already. A remarkable failure. Yeah, they're going to go with that. I'm going to, guys, also read to you Trump's statement on Truth Social immediately. It looks like he's actually updated, not immediately following the shooting. This has been the most recent Trump statement that he has given on Truth Social. He wrote this: "Thank you to everyone." Oh, never mind, guys. We are going to cut. Biden has made it 36 minutes late. I'm going to watch this with you live. Let's do that.
Last night, I spoke with Donald Trump. I'm sincerely grateful that he's doing well and recovering. And we had a short but good conversation. Jill and I are keeping him and his family in our prayers. We also extend our deepest condolences to the family of the victim who was killed. He was a father. He was protecting his family from the bullets that were being fired. And he lost his life. God love him. We're also praying for the full recovery of those who were injured. And we're grateful to the Secret Service agents and other law enforcement agencies and individuals who risked their lives literally for our nation. As I said last night, there is no place in America for this kind of violence or any violence for that matter. An assassination attempt is contrary to everything we stand for as a nation, everything. It's not who we are as a nation. It's not America. And we cannot allow this to happen. Unity is the most elusive goal of all, but nothing is important than that right now, unity. We'll debate and we'll disagree. That's not going to change, but we're going to not lose sight, in fact, who we are as Americans. Look, Vice President Harris and I were just briefed in the Situation Room by my Homeland Security team, including the Director of the FBI, the Secretary of Homeland Security, the Attorney General, the Director of the Secret Service, my Homeland Security Advisor, the National Security Advisor, and we're going to continue to be briefed. The FBI is leading this investigation, which is still in its early stages. We don't yet have any information about the motive of the shooter. We know who he is. I urge everyone, please, don't make assumptions about his motives or his affiliations. Let the FBI do their job and their partner agencies do their job. I'm instructed that this investigation be thorough and swift, and the investigators will have every resource they need to get this done. Look, as this investigation continues, here's what we're going to do. First, Mr. Trump, as a former president and nominee of the Republican Party, already receives a heightened level of security. And I've been consistent in my direction to the Secret Service to provide him with every resource, capability, and protective measure necessary to ensure his continued safety. Second, I've directed the head of the Secret Service to review all security measures for the Republican National Convention, which is scheduled to start tomorrow. And third, I've directed an independent review of the national security at yesterday's rally to assess exactly what happened. And we'll share the results of that independent review with the American people as well. And finally, I'll be speaking more about this tonight at greater length from the Oval Office. We must unite as one nation. We must unite as one nation to demonstrate who we are. And so may God bless you all, and may God protect our troops. Thank you very much.
Mr. President, when you spoke to President Trump yesterday, what did you... Sir.
This is just unbelievable.
Mr. President, shifting our campaign strategy, Mr. President. Mr. President, do you regret...
I am... no words. No words. Positively floored. That's it, guys. That's it. That's all you get. You're a leader. You're a leader of the United States. That's him right there. What did he dedicate? Was that 3 minutes? Did he add a minute from last night? Donald J. Trump survived an assassination attempt. And we have gotten maybe a total of 5.5 minutes from Joseph Biden regarding the matter. That's it. Because that's all he can actually do, right? They can't rely on him to answer questions. He's not here to calm Americans. In fact, they were just trying to figure out what is the most. They probably went over that script 300 times. I shouldn't say 300 times because he couldn't stay awake for that long. Multiple times, like, just can you get these sentences out? Kamala, can you just stand there and nod your head so we can keep performing, so that we can keep pretending that to the American people and to people all over the world that democracy is real, that they're actually living in a republic, that there's actually a leader, that there's not someone pulling his strings. No, the conspiracy theorists would think that his strings are being pulled. Everyone else should recognize that obviously this man is empowered and he totally has his wits about him. And he's just effectively communicated and he simultaneously qualmed all of our fears by giving us from start to finish, I mean, from last night's 2 minutes, 20 seconds to today's maybe 3 minutes, he's dedicated us 5.5 minutes. That's it. That's all he's got. That's all Joe Biden can give us. And what he wants to remind us, of course, in that speech is don't become a conspiracy theorist, guys. Let the FBI do their work. They will provide information. Yes, that FBI. You're going, the FBI, a blackmail operation against Martin Luther King Jr. and then he ended up conveniently shot for them when they were threatening him and telling him his. Yeah, that FBI. It's going to be great, guys. The FBI that's been locking down files pertaining to JFK's. Yeah, guys, that FBI. Let them do their work to figure out how they're going to get out of this pickle, right? Because I don't know about you, but when I hear the FBI's in the ground, I'm wondering, should we lock them up? Are they suspects? Which FBI members? I'm not saying that there aren't many hardworking people in the FBI who get into the FBI because they believe they're serving the American people, but what we do know is at the top, no, zero. No, at the top, they work for the deep state, and the deep state is working against Trump. Oh, the FBI, are we still waiting for the update, by the way, of who dropped off the pipe bombs on January 5th? No, January 6th wasn't planned by the FBI, guys. They just really are struggling to find out who dropped off those pipe bombs on January 5th, the night before, in the most surveilled city in the entire world, just a couple of blocks away from the White House. Yeah. If you're not buying that story, it's because you're a conspiracy theorist. And let me tell you, if you are not a conspiracy theorist by now, it's because you are not intelligent. I am not kidding. If you are still holding on to some belief in your heart that you're hearing the truth from Joe Biden, that you are hearing the truth from our government agencies, if you are still holding on to a shred of belief that our entire government is not being blackmailed, they are. There's a few people who are not, Thomas Massie being one of them. There's an entire blackmail operation, okay? And it's been going on for a very long time in this country. Entire blackmail operation, and all of these people that you are seeing, who you believe are your elected leaders, are being controlled. If that sounds to you like a crazy conspiracy theory, let me tell you, you have not been paying attention. It's been going on for a very long time. As I said, I have told people to read that book, Chaos, because you have to understand what happened in this country in the 60s. It is my belief that these Satanists, again, go back and watch episodes that we have been doing that have been landing me in so much trouble. It is my belief that these Satanists took over the American government via tactics of blackmail in the 1960s. That is my belief. That up until then, there was a battle for the soul of America, and then they won in the 60s when JFK was murdered, when JFK was assassinated by our own government. And that as long as that cover-up goes on, that is the indicator. How do we know, Candace, when actually we have been freed from these psychopaths that are obviously running America and the West, obviously? France, Trudeau. Are you believing that these leaders are elected and not selected? Emmanuel Macron, statutorily raped by his wife, his first husband of France, Brigitte Macron, and the state's covering that? They don't even dispute that part. They're like, we're just not going to talk about that. We're not going to talk about the fact that a 40-year-old shouldn't be dating their 14-year-old student. Because pedophiles are in a lot of positions of power, because pedophiles are the easiest people to blackmail. If you're wondering and you've been hearing a conspiracy theory about pedophiles, yeah, those would be the easiest people to blackmail if you put them in positions of power. Yeah, that's my belief, and I'm saying it, and I don't care if I'm called the conspiracy theorist. I literally wear that as a badge of honor because we keep being proven right. And as I said at the beginning of the stream, it is a battle for your soul, okay? They are poisoning us. There are toxins in the air. That's what I believe, by the way, that NASA is, okay? Because just before, and again, read that book, Chaos, the government had just experimented with biological warfare during the Korean War. They had success. When the troops came back and spoke about that, they MK-Ultra'd those troops. You know, when Kanye West, when he was telling me all this stuff about Hollywood, and I had not done my research, and I was still very much asleep, and I was not really aware of MK-Ultra. I knew about MK-Ultra, obviously, the CIA program, when they were trying to figure out how to brainwash people, how to control people's minds, and that book, Chaos, gets into that because that's what the Charles Manson operation was. It was a government operation. The public was lied to about what took place. The CIA was involved in the Manson murders because they were trying to create a mass psychosis. Read it. We're not going to have time to get to it today because we're going to have to wrap this stream in 15 minutes. But when Ye was telling me that they, put him in the hospital, that Harley Pashnik put him in the hospital and gave him a bunch of drugs to mess with his brain, that effectively that he was MK Ultra, that they could make you crazy. It's not that I didn't believe him. I just struggled to understand how this could be going on in Hollywood. I struggled with it. And I owe him an apology. I owe Ye an apology for not instantly accepting that that is the reality, that they do MK Ultra people. They've been doing that for a very long time to our troops. When they did this is a fact that you will discover in this book, that Jacob Rubenstein, the guy who shot the guy, remember Lee Oswald Harvey, I didn't shoot him. Oh, then Lee Harvey Oswald was shot by a guy named Jacob Rubenstein, who was deemed too insane to stand trial. What they don't tell you is the judge did not believe that he was clinically insane. He believed that something happened to him while he was in prison because the judge spoke to Jacob Rubenstein and he was fine. And then suddenly, while he was in prison, he gets visited by a doctor who was a part of the MK Ultra program. And that doctor MK Ultra'd him. They realized via a cocktail of medicine that they could give people schizophrenia, give people bipolar, that they could inspire mental illness via a cocktail of medicine injected into an individual. That is one of the huge tells of that book, Chaos, that I am saying every American needs to read, because you have to confront the evil of our government. Because once you recognize that they can do that they can take people, put them on a Psych 5150 hold, and they can give them a cocktail of medicine that will make them crazy, then a lot of things start to lock in. A lot of the stuff that we have been hearing begins to lock in, okay? A lot of these blackmail rings that keep appearing, Epstein, Diddy, you start to recognize that all of this is real. And we have to have the courage to confront it. How do we do that? How do we go forward? I'm gonna give you guys some ideas, and I'm gonna tell you what I'm doing, what you guys can be doing. I'm also gonna read some of your comments because this conversation matters, and I hope that you recognize that I am not a person that is fearful anymore. I'm not fearful anymore, and I'm going to tell you about what shifted inside of me. But first, I want to thank our last advertiser and who has stood by me throughout this as the whole world has tried to cancel me, and that's American Financing. And they recognize that so many Americans are feel that they're taking a step back every month as opposed to moving forward because the bills are higher than they've ever been. Why? Because all your money is being laundered overseas. And so we're the ones that are suffering. Americans are the ones that are suffering. Credit card debt is piling up. They don't feel like they can get out of debt. You're swimming in it. Well, American Financing can, in fact, help you if you're one of these Americans. If you own a home, they can help you break free from that cycle because American Financing is saving people an average of $854 a month. And that's a lot of money. If you get $800 every single month, that would significantly help you because they don't have to worry about minimum monthly payments when they turn to American Financing. And even better, it costs nothing to find out how much you can save. All you have to do is give them a quick call. And if you start today, you might be able to delay 2 mortgage payments. So call American Financing today and start your journey towards being credit card debt-free. Call 800-795-1210. That's 800-795-1210. Or you can visit AmericanFinancing.net/Owens. You guys, I hope you're subscribing to this YouTube channel. For those of you guys that are new, we got a ton of new subs last night, and I was grateful for that because, like I said, please go back, read the catalog on this channel of the 18 episodes I think it's been that we've dropped, and the topics that we're covering. We're giving you the links. We're basically blowing the lid on what's been going on in the American government, okay? We're fighting real evil. There is a battle for your spirit, the spirit that most people don't think they have. They don't believe in it. They don't even think, I don't believe in God. What do you believe in then? Government? Hollywood? You saw a bunch of movies. Do you understand the people that established Hollywood were worshiping Satan? This is the stuff that we are revealing to you guys. And all we're doing is going back and finding old videos and finding old clips and realizing that they're now admitting this stuff openly on Wikipedia. Yeah, that person was satanic. Yep, that person who put forth porn, yeah, he actually gave an interview and said that he did it because he wanted to crush Catholics and crush Christianity. That's what we're bringing to the forefront. We're just showing you that they knew what they were doing, that they were trying to make America, they were trying to make the West atheist, that none of this is happening by accident. These people worship Baphomet. Like Cat Williams told us, these people worship it. It's not a coincidence all of a sudden that they are trying to make you think that gender is not real when the evil demon that they worship is a transgendered deity, okay? That is the reality. You have to learn this stuff. You have to have the courage to confront this stuff. Before we get into your comments, I wanted to read this because this was a part of the Mass today when I went to Mass this morning. It is from Romans. It is from the Blessed Paul, the apostle, to the Romans, Romans 8:12 through 17. It really stuck with me today. It reads, "Brethren, we are debtors not to the flesh, to live according to the flesh. For if you live according to the flesh, you shall die. But if by the Spirit you mortify the deeds of the flesh," think about that, mortifying the deeds of the flesh, "you shall live. For whosoever are led by the Spirit of God, they are the sons of God. For you have not received the spirit of bondage again in fear, but you have received the spirit of adoption of sons, whereby we cry." I think about that, the spirit of bondage again in fear, and I think about how I have now untethered myself from fear because I don't believe in man. I see this journey, this humanistic exploits. They want you to believe in man as the ultimate creators. As I said, when they made fun of me, science has become a religion. People will roll up their sleeves and inject things in their arm if their God, the experts, tell them to. They don't even, when their gut is screaming at them, no. That's the Holy Spirit screaming at you, don't do this, something does not add up. They will ignore it and set it aside because, God forbid, they're called a conspiracy theorist. And they want to live. They believe life comes from government, from science. Roll up your sleeves if you want to live, right? That's what the government's doing now. They're recreating the Bible, right, with them as God. They want people to view them as the creators. The government will also, you can come to them to die, right? You can come to them to die now. Canada, we see what's going on there. You see what they are doing with assisted suicide. And how do they attempt all this? You go, it's unimaginable. How could we live in a society where people are okay with the mass murder of millions of babies? Just like the Aztecs, sacrificing your child, killed children because they believed that it would rain. Now you have people that are killing children because they believe, thanks to psychology, that it's not actually a child, it's a clump of cells, and also that if they sacrifice their child, their prospects will be better in the future. They believe in their future. You have to wake up, guys. You have to wake up to the spiritual battle that is happening, the spiritual battle that we are facing. I'm going to read a few of your comments from last night before we end this stream. I do want to get to one comment that I was very moved by. It says, "Hello, Candace. I'm a very old guy, pushing 70. I've been around and seen a lot in my life. I've heard a lot of people speak lies and some whom speak truth. In all my life, I've only heard a few people speak so truthful and unafraid. I was a child when JFK was shot. I seen my own mother fall to the floor on her knees crying. I didn't understand then what was happening. I cried because she cried. I knew if she was crying, she must have been really in a lot of emotional pain. I knew as a child old enough to see a man on TV was special to her. I was old enough to understand exactly what had happened to him. I was old enough to understand my mother had placed hopes in this man, and when this event happened, those hopes were crushed. Since then, I have been always drawn to see truth, no matter how ugly or how overwhelmingly beautiful it is. I do very much appreciate people like you. I truly understand the risks you take and the toll seeking the truth can take on one's life. Thank you so much, and my prayers in Jesus Christ's name will always be with you and all you love." You guys, I really appreciated that. And yeah, I can't imagine what that moment was like when JFK was shot and the people that really understood what had happened. I'm understanding it now that we lost our government, and they will kill Trump if they can. And so what can you do? You pray. What else can you do? Support the voices that they're trying to cancel. Support Tucker Carlson. Support people like Russell Brand. Support those of you that are already supporting your monthly donations on my locals, locals.com, if you want to continue to support the independence of this show, because this is the only way forward. Independent voices that are willing to tell the truth. Again, guys, I just thank so much of you. I mean, those of you that have purchased T-shirts, clubcandace.com purchased a Standis cup. I just appreciate all of you very, very much. I do want to read a couple of last comments since we have 5 minutes here. This person, Crazy Bear, wrote, "They try to defame him. They try to perjure him. They try to jail him. They try to remove his protection. They try to take him out. Classic Democrats, and I hope they investigate this deeply." Who's they? Who's going to investigate it? The people that likely did this, that allowed this to happen? I mean, I'm just saying what everybody else is thinking. Who is they? This person writes, "Trump needs real security now." Yes, I would very much say that he should compile his own security team, because that's something that you don't know. And I want to add this here for those of you that don't know how it works. They don't get a new Secret Service team when they switch from Obama to Trump. When they switch administrations, it's the same Secret Service team. So if you believed that Obama's Secret Service team was corrupt, or that the deep state was involved in allowing things to happen, that's the same Secret Service team that Trump inherited. I don't trust that. I agree. I believe that he needs private security. I believe Elon Musk has been out there saying he's going to vote for Trump. Elon Musk should get Trump security, because I know that Elon Musk already has a security apparatus of his own because he's Elon Musk. He should get Trump security. People that we're fighting will do anything, okay? They will blow up planes and say it was an accident. They will have a person who I believe, and again, coming important from, know that this stuff happens, that I believe now, having understood from that book, Chaos, that they can implant ideas into people's heads. They can make people believe that events took place in their life that did not happen. They successfully achieved that in the 1960s, okay? The CIA achieved that in the 1960s. This man, 22 years of his life, he dedicated into writing this book, investigating this. His name is Tom O'Neill. The book is called Chaos, MK Ultra, the government, and the 60s, I believe is the subheading. I might be getting that wrong. And when he was able to get these files and go through them and recognize that the CIA was saying that they had done this, that they had successfully achieved this, that they were able to implant false memories into people's minds, it really makes you wonder. It really makes you revisit all of these things that have happened. When you understand that the Manson murders were a psychological operation, right? It put an end to the hippie generation who didn't want to go to war. They didn't want to go to war. Hippies didn't, the free love, rock and roll. Suddenly people stopped free love, rock and roll, and began locking their doors. They were worried about their security. We've essentially had never-ending wars since 9/11. Same thing. That was a psychological mass psychosis that allowed us to give up our freedoms in the belief that the government would keep us safe. Is America a safer or a freer country since September 11th, 2001? No. We have wide open borders. We have people, we have cities that are in destruction, right? We have cities that are being destroyed. Our taxes are so high. We're constantly in war. And we don't know whose wars we're fighting, because these wars clearly are not about the American people. And very few people are willing to say that, because they're afraid of the establishment. And they should be afraid of the establishment if they think salvation comes through the establishment, but it doesn't. Guys, I want to end this stream by telling you that God is real. Your spirit is real, and there have been people, like Tucker said, that have been battling for your spirit for a very long time. And I think in closing, we should play that clip one more time of Tucker Carlson. Chris, if you can get that rolling. Let's take a listen to what Tucker Carlson said again.
There is a whole world that we can't see that acts on people, a supernatural world. It's acting on us all the time for good and bad. Every society has thought this before ours. In fact, every society in all recorded history has thought that until, I'll be specific, August 1945, when we dropped the atom bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. And all of a sudden, the West is just officially secular. We're God. There is no God but us. And that's the world that we have grown up in. But that's an anomaly. Like, no one else has ever thought that. There's never been a society that thought that. Every other society has assumed, and they've had all kinds of different explanations, and the details differ, but the core idea does not differ, never has differed from caves until now, that we're being acted on by spiritual forces at all times.
And if you don't know that, guys, what can I say to you? You are bringing the figurative knife to a gunfight. Spiritual forces are at play. Thank you guys so much. Again, if you want to support the show and our independence, head to locals.com. You can find me, give what you can. If you can't, and a lot of people are struggling, that's fine too. Just pray, because I promise you it is the prayers that are keeping me safe. I believe it is people praying that kept Donald J. Trump safe last night. We will continue to pray for him, continue to pray for the families who lost loved ones last night, people whose families are in critical condition last night. And you guys, I will see you. We likely will not have a show tomorrow because I've been working with Team Saturday and Sunday, but I will see you again on Tuesday. Thank you guys so much for joining us.